All right. My name is Iñaki Fierro, and I have recently finished writing my IPQ paper titled "How Can the Aviation Industry Become More Environmentally Friendly?" To give a little bit of background information, I've always been very keen on commercial aviation as a whole. Ever since I was a little kid, I had the chance to travel quite a lot, for which I'm very grateful, and I've developed this kind of passion for planes, aircraft, airports. So when I had to choose the idea about what to write on this paper, it was one of the first things that came to mind. I counted with a lot of previous knowledge at the time of making the research and start the writing process. But yeah, my goal was basically to expand my knowledge on the industry and to try and find solutions. I mean, even though it is not really probable that people who actually could make a change will get to read my paper. My idea was just to gather information and use my knowledge as well and try to suggest ideas on how the aviation industry could reduce its impact on the environment. And yeah, the research process started back in 2020 when we first started with the subject. It was all about, it took a long time to polish off all the ideas of potential questions we all had and to get to the final research question. And then once we had done that, it was a question of start researching and organizing ourselves and putting all the information together and just deciding which information we would include and which we wouldn't, because we got a word limit, so we had to be careful with what was really important to be written and with what maybe was not that important. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty pleasant experience, because when you read or you search for information about something that interests you, I mean, you don't suffer from it. It's pretty straightforward. So all of the writing process was just sitting down and letting the ideas flow and just writing, and it was pretty pleasant, as I said. And yeah, of course, even though I thought I knew quite a lot about the industry, and of course I know there are a lot of things which I don't know, because as every of these industries, it is pretty complex and has a lot of sectors and stuff. I learned quite a number of things. There are a lot of sectors of the industry, as I just said, and each and every one of them could be improved to be made more sustainable, and then that way help the aviation industry as a whole become more sustainable. And that is kind of the structure of the paper. It has like different subheadings with the different sectors of the industry, and a little analysis on each of the sectors and some suggestions on how each of them could become more sustainable. And at the same time, I also mentioned the processes that are going underway these days, because when it comes to aircraft technology, for example, there is a constant development. So it is a very complete paper, so I genuinely recommend you to read it. And of course, the conclusion is that as much as science and engineering and technology have been advancing over the last few years, it is very probable that the aim and the goal of the aviation industry to be a carbon neutral industry, which means that they become an industry where no carbon emissions are made, is probably going to be achieved sometime in the future, in a couple of years' time, because there's a very big compromise from the big companies that form part of the industry. And so I really believe that we're all going to be surprised with what we're going to see in, let's say, 10 years' time. So yeah, I'm pretty enthusiastic about that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future holds for the aviation industry.